This is a odd story out of Houston, Texas. Houston, Texas has a big mall. It's a Texas shopping center there, and at the shopping center, the owner Steve Kwan was asked about some very odd signs that were on inside of the mall parking lot, which said "No Muslim parking." Now, when the owner of the shopping center, Steve Kwan, was asked about it, he said, "I'm not responsible for the signs." He still did take them down. But when mall employees were interviewed by local TV station KPRC, they said, well, what's going on is people at the mall are frustrated because mosque attendees are using our parking lot when they're attending services. Still, nobody took credit for the signs, and Kwan vowed to enlist a towing company to deal with non-patrons who are parking there during mosque services. This doesn't really make sense to me, because if it were just about parking, you could put no mosque parking, which would be better than saying no Muslim parking. Or you could actually do what makes perfect sense, which is you say, this parking lot for mall shoppers only, right? There's nothing mandatory about saying Muslims aren't allowed to park there. And by the way, if the mall owner didn't do it, who did?
Yeah, unless you're dumb enough to think that the Muslims using the parking lot don't know what a no mosque parking sign would mean. Uh, Clearly, there's a lot of racism going on here, but
The
it
other
seems
thing
like
is that
no one can be held accountable.
the other thing is that totally separate. Well, aren't there security cameras? Or I guess the mall controls those. So maybe it's in the best interest of the mall owner not to let anybody see that footage. But the signs don't say no Muslim parking while you're at the mosque instead of at our mall. They just say no Muslim parking. So presumably that sign, even if that's not what it was intended to mean, it means Muslims aren't even allowed to park there if they're shopping at the mall, which now is absolutely and completely discriminatory and violates any number of non-discrimination laws. But whether or not that's what was intended, yet another example of where racism and xenophobia ends up actually having even worse legal implications than what maybe was intended, which is when you're at your Muslim services, don't bother us here at our parking lot. It turns out they put up a sign that's even worse than that.
It's sad. It's amazing that people think they can get away with doing things like this. I guess if Ron Paul were president, they could,
Well, Rand Paul, right?
or either one.
Well, yeah. Well, I don't know. Have we heard from Ron Paul that he also, while he is not racist, would want stores to be allowed to have no blacks or something signs? Because we
Yes,
know.
yes, he is for the personal freedoms of business owners.
All right. Well, there you go. Ron Paul, Rand Paul. Maybe this is the type of thing that they would want. Now, at least, it's shocking to some people anyway. Maybe to some people it's not. Let's take a break. Next, we will talk to the former chief prosecutor at Guantanamo Bay. Very, very interesting interview coming up with retired Air Force Colonel Morris Davis. Stay with us. Back after this.